What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Lock and Cash podcast. It is Tuesday, December 30th, as we're about to say farewell to 2025. Week 18 in the NFL coming up. Week 17 in the books. Another down week for me. I've really struggled the last 2 weeks, man. We had such a great season, built up a luckily, we built up a nice big cushion of almost like 17 unit cushion. But the last 2 weeks, been struggling. Another losing week for me. Did go 2-0 on Sunday, but lost my two plays on Saturday and then lost my Monday night play. So a 2-3, a 2-4 week, I believe it was overall, for me in the NFL. Not the worst week you could have, but not a good week either. So we'll look to take it easy in week 18. We're still up for the season, but I don't want to go crazy and give all the profit back. And we're in a nice position, even with the last two bad weeks, to just finish strong, right? If we have a good playoffs and finish out, we could wrap this up and say, hey, here are the final stats. We had a great year, despite the last couple of weeks being rough. So week 18, probably going to be a slow week for me. I have sent out one play so far. I'm eyeing one more, but that might be it. It might be two plays because really high variance week. We'll get into all the different scenarios and stuff. This probably be a little bit of a shorter video. We are going to run through the games, but some games where there's resting starters, nothing to play for. There's not really much that we can discuss aside from some spots that might have some betting value, which we'll get into. So let's get it going. This week is a little bit weird. So what we have is we have two games on Saturday. There's no Thursday game, two games on Saturday, and then we have the entire rest of the slate is all on Sunday. And we'll get into all that right now, starting with the Panthers, Buccaneers. That's your first game on Saturday, 4:30 p.m. Eastern. Right now, we've got Tampa -2.5, pretty much across the board, although my screen is lighting up literally as I'm speaking, and we're starting to see threes pop up. 44.5 is your total. I'll tell you right now that this is the other game that I was thinking about betting. I like Tampa. My one problem here is the health of Baker Mayfield. And for me, this is just your typical, I mean, as contrarian of a spot as you'll find, right? Everyone loves betting the Panthers as dogs. They have so many outright wins this season. Tampa Bay has been super unreliable. They've looked like pure dog shit the last month, basically. They're on a 4-game losing streak. Nothing. It looks like Bowles is going to be gone. Baker's not 100%. He does not look good. Very high variance. Don't love laying points with him. But when I saw this below 3, I'm like, they were the Buccaneers 2 weeks ago were -2.5 in Carolina, and that game played to a field goal at the end, where the Bucs had some unfortunate luck and were driving at the end to go either tie or win the game. I can't then flip them home and say they're -2.5 at home after the market just bought them, by the way. They were -2.5 at Carolina, and the market bought them up to 3. And now here they are -2.5 at home versus Carolina. I can't get there with my numbers. I make this north of 3. My one concern, like I said, is the health of Baker. Now, does he have like one kind of last heroic effort to try to get his team across the line? Another thing mentally, with that Falcons win last night was brutal for them because mentally Tampa knows we got to win, but then we also need help. We need the Saints to upset the Falcons on Sunday, which is certainly possible. They're only a 3-point dog, and they're playing really well. But the Buccaneers need that help. So I don't know what that does to a team mentally to know that even if they do win, it's not set in stone that they're in. But I do think that that applies to the other side as well. Carolina knows that they can still get in even if they lose. Not saying that that takes away from their urgency, but you never know mentally. I mean, late in the game, if you got to pull it out of the fire, what happens? I mean, in the back of your head, I can still get in if the Falcons take care of business tomorrow. They're a favorite. They're at home. They're on a 3-game losing streak. They look really good. Maybe I don't need to win this game. Not saying that's how professional athletes think, because I know it's not. But what I'm saying is in the moment, we want to try to bet on human tendencies. Where does the human psyche fail in the moment? And that to me seems like it could rear its ugly head a little bit. Maybe Carolina, and they've not been that good on the road this year. They've been really, really solid at home and can compete with anybody at home. Aside from the win that they got in Green Bay, which was an ridiculous win. Aside from that, they have not been super great on the road. So I mean, at less than a field goal, I gotta lean Tampa in this game, and I may end up playing it, to be honest. So that's where I'm at mentally with this game. The stakes, the situation. Tampa needs to win, but they need help. Carolina can get in with some help and still lose. To me, this spot screams Buccaneers as a little revenge angle. And again, it always comes down to price, and the price to me is just, I mean, come on. They were the same line on the road 2 weeks ago. I can't get there with or was it 3 weeks ago? Whatever it was, I can't get there with this line for the Buccaneers. So I like Tampa in the game. The second game on Saturday night is your 1 seed battle. Seahawks at 49ers. Seattle's -1 to 1.5, depending on where you look. They were +1, +1.5. It flipped. Seattle took early money. Um, and I mean, the Seahawks, that game against Carolina last week, man. Ooh, that was looking rough for a while. It was 3-3 at the half. Darnold did not look good in that game. Now I know they ended up pulling away and they win. Okay, they get a convincing win and cover. It was not convincing for most of that game though. And I think the Seattle offense is in trouble. Their defense is truly elite. It is a phenomenal unit. But if you got to play from behind against the 49ers, who I know, like their defense is not good. I'm not saying it's good, but they can put up points with anybody. You're seeing that over the last few weeks. I don't see the 49ers not being able to score against as good as the Seahawks defense is. I think they're going to put up points. Seattle's going to have to keep pace. I think this is going to be a higher scoring game than people think. I know everyone thinks divisional battle, 1 seed on the line. It's going to get gritty. It's going to get conservative, careful. Don't turn the ball over. Actually, historically in these games, teams open up the kitchen sink because you got to do whatever you got to do to both teams want the 1 seed badly. So I think this game goes, my initial lean is over 49.5. I slightly lean to Seattle in the game. I probably won't be on this game though. I do have a 49ers divisional ticket, which was from before the season started. So that's a plus money. So I may hedge with Seattle. Obviously, for you watching that, if you do have a 49ers ticket, I know I also have a sprinkle on the 1 seed. That's where I really want to hedge, but we don't have to get into that. I mean, those odds are long gone. But if you have something early in the season for either of these teams, 1 seed, division, this is your time to hedge either one, because the winner is going to get the division and the 1 seed. The loser is going to drop to the 5 or the 6, I believe. So a lot big stakes. I mean, it's clear who the better defense is. To me, it's clear who the better coach quarterback is. So you've got the better coach and quarterback on the San Francisco side, the better defense on the Seattle side. Seattle also are road warriors, by the way, 7-1 ATS on the road this season. I lean Seattle in the game, but again, I have a hedge opportunity because I have futures on the 49ers. So, we'll see I will say this is a tough game to call. I do think though, offensively, it could play out like the Rams Seahawks game where it was like, yeah, we know how good Seattle's defense is, but the Rams just carved them up. It didn't matter. They got whatever they wanted. And I could see Purdy doing that again as well. He's playing at an insanely high level right now. He is right now playing far better than Sam Darnold is. And the 49ers have their plethora of weapons. Maybe you get Kittle back for this game, but even without Kittle, they looked great on Sunday Night Football. Offensively, the defense does not look good. So I think you get a bit of a shootout in this one. I think it's high scoring. I think you see a lot of explosive plays, throws downfield from both teams. I like the over. If you told me you were teasing the Niners up to 7.5 at home, I don't hate it, but with a high total like this, I probably would try to avoid it, but don't hate it. Don't hate it for sure. With their offense, they can, even if they're behind, they can come back into the game. So lean Seattle. This is all about the numbers, right? Lean Seattle ATS, lean teasing the Niners to 7.5, and I like the over in the game. All right, over to Sunday. Let's see. So we have Colts, Texans. Texans are a huge 10-point favorite at home. This is a total of 40.5. Might get Riley Leonard in this one, not Phillip Rivers. So that's something to watch out for. Texans, let me pull up my sheet here with all of my notes. The Texans, guys, just need to win this game, and they would need a Jaguars loss in order to take the division. So this is not this is not must win or anything. The Jaguars are massive favorites against the Titans. So this game may end up meaning nothing to Houston. So just keep that in mind when again, this is a very tricky week. Remember, so you have this game at 1 p.m. You also have Jaguars Titans at 1 p.m. So this is one of those things where it's like, what if the Texans are, let's say they're up by 10 at the half, then they look over and Jacksonville's up by like 24 points against the Titans. That's, the game suddenly does not matter anymore for Houston. So maybe they take their foot off the gas. Maybe they sit Stroud in the second half. Now the back door's open for the Colts. So you got to be really careful with these big giant favorites in week 18 because mid-game the game plan can suddenly change. Right? Same thing with the Jags. The Jags just need to win. So, they've got a 12, what is it now? A 12 and a half, 13-point spread. They just need to win the game to clinch the division. They don't need to win by margin. So if you're up 21 points in the third quarter, you probably then sit Trevor Lawrence in the fourth, right? So and then the back door's open. So be very, very careful with these games. That's my biggest recommendation. But Houston, in order for them to clinch the division, they need a win and they need a Titans as a 13-point dog to upset the Jaguars. Likely not happening. So Houston just needs to get out of this game healthy. Whether they win or lose probably won't matter. As long as the Jaguars take care of business, which, they're 13 points. It is a divisional game. I'm not saying the Titans can't win, but the Jags have looked pretty good at home, too. They've been dominant at home. Browns versus Bengals is a completely meaningless game with nothing to play for, but I actually like it. I like Cincy in the game, minus the 7.5. Total's 44.5. There were early sevens. I wish I got in on the early sevens. I looked, I saw the market move. It just moved too fast for me, basically, for me to get it out for the pick service, to get it out to all subscribers. I wanted to, I couldn't get it out in time, but I loved Cincy minus 7. I still like them at 7.5, not as much. I just think they're going to blow the doors off of Cleveland. Cleveland just got that crazy wild win at home against the Steelers, upset, playing spoiler, forcing the Steelers to have to play hard for another week. And I'm sure they relished in that spoiler role. They upset at home, but now they go on the road. Man, the last time the Browns had an upset win at home, and then they went on the road, was that Chicago game. They go on the road to the Chicago Bears. The Bears blew their doors off. I think that's what's going to happen here. I think the Bengals are going to just destroy them. Nothing to play for. It's just Myles Garrett chasing a sack. Who cares for the Browns? Shador is not good, right? He can throw a couple of deep balls here and there. It doesn't matter that it's the Bengals defense. I don't expect them to put up many points. And Burrow is Burrow. He's just cooking at the end of the year. He's playing for the love of the game. He doesn't care that they have nothing to play for. They're putting up tons of points on everybody. I think the Bengals win this game running away. That's just my opinion on the game. I don't have any line value or anything like that. So minus 7.5 Cincinnati. I'll probably get involved. It's especially, man, I think we're headed to 8, but I'm hoping for a little Browns money. If I can get a 7, I'll be in on the Bengals in that game. Saints, Falcons is another 1 p.m. window start. Falcons minus 3. At home, this was 2.5. Come up to 3. Now you're starting to see a little bit of buyback. A couple of more 2.5s popping up, but a lot of books have 3. 43.5 is the total. Couple of interesting tidbits here. The Falcons are on a long winning streak now, and they get to stay home. They played on a short week, get to stay home. That should be an advantage for them. The Saints are on a winning streak. They come in. They're playing very well. They just beat the Titans. Shuck looks really good. Shuck is now probably going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Crazy. What a run for him to end the season. Maybe the Saints got their guy. They're not beating juggernauts, but they did beat the Buccaneers in Tampa. And they're playing competitively. This looks like a much different team. And I think they're set up. I think Kellen Moore is going to be a really good head coach. And if they can just get some pieces on defense in the draft, if they can get some more weapons on off, Shuck to Olave looks like a very solid start. Get a running back, get some pieces on the O-line. This could be a much different team next year. So I like the Saints in the game. The Saints also, by the way, I lean Saints plus 3. They also have been rock solid in this role. The last 2 seasons as road divisional dogs, they're undefeated. They're 8-0 against the spread. And as road divisional dogs this year, they're perfect against the spread. Also recall that this is a revenge game. The Falcons went into New Orleans as I think it was 2-point dogs last time around. This was a while ago, and they beat the Saints. And that was to stop a long losing streak. I think they had lost 5 or 6 in a row at that point, so they really needed to bounce back. They got a win. They were 3-9 at the time. It's crazy how they've ended the season strong. Now the Saints are playing much better now than they were back then. And now they look to get a little revenge in a totally meaningless game for these two teams, but not meaningless for their NFC South counterparts. But I like the Saints plus 3 in the game. I think this comes down to a field goal. I think the Saints win the game. Next one up is another meaningless game with the Packers and the Vikings, so we won't spend too much time on this. Vikings minus 6.5. Green Bay's resting their starters for sure in this game. You probably will not see Jordan Love. You'll probably get another game from Malik Willis. Which, hey, listen, Malik Willis can go win you a game, but they're going to be resting probably the majority of the team, which is why they're such big underdogs in this one. The Vikings are basically playing for momentum into next season, I guess. See what you get from JJ McCarthy, whatever. I don't even know who's starting. Is it Brosmer? Is it McCarthy? Not a game I'm going to get interested in any way. Whenever you have a side resting, I don't want anything to do with it. But to me, obviously, if you get a full 7, I lean Green Bay with a full 7. The Packers are locked into the 7 seed. Basically, I don't think they can move. I think they would need a ton of crap to happen for them to move. So they're likely going to be going to either Chicago or Philadelphia in round 1. Titans at Jaguars. We already kind of talked about this game. The Jags are 12 and a half to 13-point favorites at home. They just need to win and they clinch the AFC South. What a year for them. Amazing year for Jacksonville. And if they win, there is, by the way, a very, very unlikely path that the Jags could get the 1 seed. So if you're just looking, again, it's a tough week, but if you're just looking for like a money line parlay piece, Jacksonville, New England, Denver, these are good money line parlay pieces because the Jags, they don't need any help, right? They just need to win, and you got the AFC South. Now, if they win and the Broncos lose and the Patriots lose, 2 very unlikely scenarios, but if that happens, they get the 1 seed. But aside from that, that's a long shot. The point is Jacksonville win, the division is yours. Or if the Texans lose, the Jaguars can lose their game. But you don't want to rely on that. Obviously, the Texans are huge favorites too in their game. So Jags win and you're in. Jags are a good money line parlay piece for the week if you want to play it safe. Cowboys Giants, a meaningless game, but the Giants are taking money basically one way the whole week. 5.5s are now down to 5. 4.5s are starting to pop up. Home dog, Cowboys with nothing to play for. You did hear Jerry Jones mention Dak will start, but what happens with Dak throughout the game is something they're not going to talk about. No way Dak plays this whole game. Why would you? It makes no sense at all. Save the guy, save any injury luck or anything like that. Come back next year, would improve on defense. Your offense is great. Go get some help on defense and come back next year. The Giants, I mean, you would think they don't want to win because of draft position, but they beat the Raiders last week. Now the Raiders are just trying to lose harder than the Giants are trying to lose. But this is a divisional game, and I don't think it's going to matter much. I could see the Giants getting up for this one. +5, you want to take a little sprinkle on Giants money line. I don't hate that at all. I think this is a good spot to do it. If anything, if you think if you're looking for an upset, I think they could. Just because they're gonna be amped to play their home finale, and the Cowboys, this game means nothing to nobody. So next one up, Lions Bears -2.5 at home with a total of 50.5. The Bears got to win this game to get the 2. Let me check my notes. Bears need to win to clinch the 2 seed. That will put them at home. By the way, remember the 2 gets potentially 2 playoff home games. So the Bears being the 2 seed will put them at home versus the Packers in round 1. If they lose this game, they will drop down, and the Eagles win, they will drop down to the 3. Okay. And the 3 changes because you could either get the Rams, you could get the 49ers, a couple things, but you'll likely get the Rams. So if you want to avoid, I would want to avoid the Rams personally. I'd rather, you already beat the Packers once and you played them close in Lambeau. So 2 games that could have easily gone your way. One did and one could have. I'd much rather take my chances with the Packers if I'm the Bears. So the Bears just need a win. But now, here's my thing with this game. It's a small line. The Lions are out of the playoffs. That does not mean that they will just throw it in. That has not ever been a thing under Dan Campbell. So the Lions in this game are going to, I believe, relish the spoiler role. Not really spoiling, the Bears are in regardless, but they're going to look to win this game. Now, they destroyed the Bears back in, I think it was week 2 or week 3, week 2. Killed them at home, but this is a much different situation right now. So the Bears being favored does not surprise me. However, I don't think they should be a 2.5 point. I have this closer to a pick. Listen, Detroit's the best team that's not getting in, basically. I mean, the defense is riddled with injuries, but they're a top 3 offense in the NFL. Turnover luck, 4th down variance, and defensive injuries have derailed the Lions season completely. But still a bunch of talent on this team. Can put up a bunch of points on a bad Bears defense. This Bears defense, guys, I know they're good. They've looked great. They can run the ball. Caleb Williams is really, really good at just not making huge mistakes. He has not turned the ball over. He's been really good at that. His throws on the run, his deep ball, beautiful. But they can't stop basically anyway. I mean, they are not good defensively. You saw that on Sunday night. The Lions could put up a lot of points in this game. What I like in this game is a Lions teaser leg up to 8.5. And I know they have nothing to play. I know it makes no sense. They have nothing to play for. But I'm telling you, they're going to get up for this game. It's a divisional. They're going to try to play spoiler. Chicago wants the game to stick to the 2 seed. The Lions are going to try to knock them down to the 3 seed. And it doesn't make any sense. And I get it, but they're not going to rest. I'm telling you, Dan Campbell, they don't do this. The Lions are not going to rest their players. I like Detroit up to 8.5. By the way, that game I talked about earlier, the Bengals, that's a teaser I like. Cincy minus 1.5, Detroit up to 8.5. Very solid Wong teaser in a week where there's a lot of just what the hell kind of games. Jets at Bills. Bills down to -7. This was 8.5. This game does not mean much for Buffalo. Let me check my notes. The Bills just need to win to remain the 6th seed. So if they lose this game, they drop to the 7. Now, is there much of a difference? If you're the 6, you probably got to go to Jacksonville round 1. If you're the 7, you're going to New England round 1. I mean, both of those are very tough. So I don't think it's going to matter. I think for the Bills, it's more about, you just played a rough, tough game in the freezing rain with Philly. To me, this is more about like, maybe we'll play the first half, and then after that, we're coasting, and whatever happens, happens. Mitch Trubisky can definitely come in and beat the Jets. You don't need Josh Allen to do it. So I don't like, this is not one of those where I would say the dog is going to play spoiler or it's like an all-out. I don't think so. I think the Jets are just, that's it. They're finishing the season out, get a very high draft pick. The Bills just need to win the game. I lean Bills -7, maybe tease them. I'm telling you, if Josh Allen sits the second half, I'm still confident with Mitch Trubisky covering a teaser leg for you against the Jets. So no issues here for me, but just not a lot riding on this game. Chargers, Broncos -12.5 at home. This was a much shorter line at 7.5 until, which kind of like the hedge in between. And then Harbaugh came out and said, we're not starting Herbert. And those line went way up. Denver just needs to win, and they're the 1 seed. So I fully expect them to do that. I think this is probably the most unlikely upset that you'll get because the Chargers the Chargers are locked into the 6. And because Buffalo is very, very likely going to win. So if Buffalo wins, then the Chargers are the 6 or the 7. Let me double check that. Actually, I'm not sure. So if they win, they win. Sorry, the Chargers are very likely the 7. So as the 7 seed, LA would be going to New England in Foxborough for the first round. And that's likely what it's going to be. The only way the Chargers will move up and go play the Jags is if the Bills lose. So this game does not mean much to LA. A win for them, that they don't control their own seeding or anything like that. They need help. They're going to take this game off. Denver's going to win the game running away. The Chargers will go to New England in round 1, and that will be a very good game. All right, next one up, Dolphins at Pats. Similar scenario here. The Pats don't really have anything to play for in this one. All they need, let's see, Patriots just need a win, but they don't even need to win. They can just rest because for them to get the 1, they would need to win, and the Broncos would need to lose. And we just talked about that game. Super unlikely without Herbert that the Chargers are going to pull off the upset. Broncos control their destiny. They're at home where they've only lost 1 game in the last 2 years at home, something crazy. They're 7-1 at home this year. They're going to win the game, lock up the 1 seed. New England's going to be the 2. So New England does not need this game. Now, do you want to go out on a loss? Probably not. You want to just win the game just to win it. And that's going to be easy enough to do against the Dolphins, who are, the Dolphins, they look pretty good against the Bucs, but I don't know. I don't think Quinn Ewers is very good. I watched a lot of him at Texas. I don't think he's very good, but hey, he played a good game. So give him some props. Maybe they backdoor this for sure. And I could see the Pats just taking the second half off completely. And Miami's got talent. They're not like a bottom dweller team by any stretch. So if you said you're taking the 11.5 here, which is where we're at now, I can't knock it. But just keep in mind that the Patriots don't, and the Denver game is going to be simultaneous. So if the Broncos, again, that mid-game game plan adjustment, if the Broncos are up big, the Patriots might just say, forget this. We don't need this for anything. Take off the second half, get into the playoffs healthy as the 2 seed. Arizona at Los Angeles. This was 9.5. We saw it come down to 7. Now we're seeing 9.5s pop up again. It's been back and forth with this game. And that's because of the uncertainty around who's going to play. Now for the Rams, it was assumed that McVay would rest starters because he's always done that his whole career. He's never really cared about seeding much. He's always just said, let's get in healthy. But then he came out and said, and now we're pretty much, by the way, pretty much 7.5 now across the board. Then he came out and said, no, they're going to play. The Stars are going to play in week 18. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to play the whole game. It means they're going to play maybe the first half. And this line is kind of a hedge in between that. Instead of from 9.5, if he said Stars are completely resting, this would crater like a full 7 point. You might get down to below 3, but it's sitting at 7.5 because maybe they play the first half. Maybe and listen, Arizona is horrible. Arizona is getting blown out left and right. So the wheels have fallen off for them. The last time these two teams played, it was non-competitive. The Rams destroyed them. So I could see the Rams just building up like a big first half lead and then kind of coasting away in the second half, sitting guys in the fourth. Again, another tricky game. If you want a parlay piece, maybe the Rams as a teaser or parlay piece. Eagles, Commanders, similar scenario here. Philly does not need much for this day. For Philly to move up out of the 3 seed, they got to win and they need a Bears loss. Now the Lions can certainly beat the Bears. We did talk about that, and this is again the games will be going on at the same time, so you got to be able to like watch back and forth. It's tough. Maybe there's live betting opportunities, but these games where a team needs to win and needs help in order to adjust something, I just stay away because you don't know what's going to happen. Let's say the Bears are up by 20 in the third quarter. The Eagles just are not going to. They have nothing left to. They don't have to play in the fourth quarter. There's nothing. They don't need to do anything. So very dangerous. Like getting involved in these games, pre-flop because the outcome of another game can decide what the game plan is in this game, and that's not the case any other week of the season except for week 18. So you got to be careful with these games. Chiefs at Raiders. Chiefs -5.5 on the road. Again, I'll totally listen. In this game, if anything, I lean Chiefs only because the Raiders are not trying to win football games. They want the top pick, and they're going to go get probably Fernando Mendoza, and they don't want to win games. I mean, it could not be more obvious at this point that they don't want to win football games. So, gotta lean Chiefs here. If you want to use them for a money line piece, the Chiefs will win. That draft positioning is not too much of an issue for them. The Chiefs will go win this game. Whether or not they cover, I don't know, but they'll win it. There is zero motivation on the Raiders side in this game. And if anything, the Chiefs defense is the strongest unit out of all the units in this game, and they'll keep the Raiders at bay. So lean Chiefs in that one, but again, not something I can really get involved in. All right, your matchup of the week, other than Seattle, San Francisco, Ravens, Steelers, is the Sunday Night Football game flexed into Sunday Night Football. This is for the AFC North. Winner takes the AFC North division. No help needed. No other. So this is essentially, guys, what we just talked about. Niners, Seahawks for the 1 seed. And then this is the only other game that does not rely on anything else happening. Ravens, Steelers, whoever wins takes the AFC North. Whoever loses is out. That's it. So this is a true win or go home with nothing else impacting it, which I feel like is why they flexed it to Sunday night. I think it was the right decision. I know people were saying move Niners Seahawks to end it for the 1 seed. No, it's different because you've got the Rams are still a great team in that division. This is for the division and the loser goes home. Seahawks, 49ers, they're both in regardless. The loser of this game is out, and I love that. It's going to make for cinema on Sunday night. Ravens -3.5, 41.5 at the total. I looked at the look ahead. It was Ravens -3. It was 43.5. I liked Ravens and the under. I said, if this reopens at anything below 3, I'm all in. Max. We're going max on Baltimore. But it reopened 3.5. Actually, there were some 3s, but they were juiced, and I was not quick enough. At 3.5, I can't recommend the rate. It's a Pittsburgh line at 3.5. These teams always play each other close, no matter what. The Steelers are coming off of that ugly loss at Cleveland. That was a bad loss where they could have locked. They were more concerned about preventing Myles Garrett from getting the sack record than actually winning the game to lock up the division. It came back to burn them, but now they come back home. Tomlin as a home dog, the whole rah-rah thing. They beat the Ravens once already. Yes, it was fluky. The Ravens should have won that game. They got horrible calls. They got horrible turnover luck from help from the referees. They should have won at home, but the Ravens much better on the road. I'm torn. This is all about the number, okay? The 3.5s are starting to get bought, so it's juiced right now. We're seeing 3.5s, 115, 120. If we get 3, I'm in on Ravens. At 3.5, it's either small play on Pitt or pass. But I personally think the Ravens win the game. Line value, I can't tell you there's line value on them. I think at 3.5, the books were very smart, very intuitive to know that sharp guys are going to try to jump on Baltimore in this game because they are the better. I mean, they're a 3.5 point favorite on the road in a winner take all game for a team that's looked like shit for most of the season. So the line's telling you all you need to know. I think the Ravens win and get in. I've got a long shot ticket on the Ravens to win the AFC, so I really want them to get in. I like them at 3, but I just cannot. It's all about the number, and 3 in the NFL is king, and I cannot recommend them to you at 3.5, even though you can get like 3.5 even money or 105. I still can't do it. I would need a flat 3. The good news is Pitt money might come in. It does look like it will, and maybe we'll get back to a flat 3. That's when I will come in. And home dogs in prime time, very popular bet. So this could get down to 3. And at 3, I'd be in on the Ravens. So I like the Ravens to win the game. I think, and by the way, we need to see if Lamar, and this line is accounting for Lamar being back. I give a secret between all of you guys watching and me. I would love to just get Tyler Huntley at 2.5 in this game and not have Lamar. Remember, they played with Lamar. They were a 6-point favorite at home the last time these two teams played. Can't do the math on top of my head right now, but if you adjust for Huntley and everything, if I were to get Tyler Huntley in this game minus 2.5, I'd be all over that. But I think you're probably going to get Lamar. A back contusion shouldn't be something that keeps you out 2 games. We don't know. I guess I don't know the severity of it, but he probably will play. If it's Lamar and I can get 3, even a juice 3 at 120, I'll take that. But I do not want to lay 3.5 in a game between these two teams. I mean, look, these games always, the last one came down, what was it, a 2-point game, a 1-point game? These games always come down to a couple points at the end, and I can't lay 3 in the hook if this ends on a field goal. That's just going to be such a boneheaded bet. So I think at 3.5, it's a Steelers line, and I think if this gets to 3, I would want to back Baltimore in the game. So that's Week 18. Again, a quicker video this week because lots of tricky scenarios, lots of meaningless games, but we went over some of the big ones. I did post like a long little thread thing over on Twitter today. If you guys want to check me out on Twitter, it's at Lock and Cash. And I did post like what's on the line for every playoff team in Week 18, so you can kind of see like who is playing for the division, who's playing for seeding, what do they need, what help do they need, all that stuff. It's all there on my Twitter. And hey, that's it, Week 18, and then playoffs, man. I'm gonna have so much fun. I want to do a playoff scenario video. So as soon as Week 18 is over, the wild card weekend, we'll talk about all the point spreads for the playoff games. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll do projections, and we'll go over what I think is going to happen. And I'll give you guys some long shot futures. Who's going to win the Super Bowl? Who's going to win each conference? It'll be a lot of fun. So make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss any of those videos coming up. Let me know down in the comments what you like. Do you see any angles for Week 18? I know a lot of people go the player prop route with incentives, but I feel like all that stuff is baked in. I used to look at that stuff a lot more, but player props move so fast you can't really confidently give them out as picks because nobody can get the lines by the time you get them. So, but let me know what you guys think. And as always, thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys next week.